Well, good morning and welcome to another Thursday Thought. Before I get to my thought for this week, I want to acknowledge the tragic crash that happened last evening between a commercial flight originating in Wichita and an Army helicopter. That crash happened in Washington, D.C. last evening. Apparently, all 67 people on both aircraft have been lost. Now, if you know of someone who's hurting because of this accident, please be the hands and feet of Jesus as you serve and comfort them. Well, in the panoply of things that I do in my work at the church lies the ministry of benevolence. Now, there are many ways that benevolent ministries can help both church members as well as those outside of the membership. Some of the more common needs are food, clothing, transportation, housing, and help with bills. We do get some of the more uncommon requests from time to time, such as for a roll of paper towels, denture adhesive, used eyeglasses, and other such things. But most of the time, the requests wrap around the more common areas of benevolence. Now, we can't do everything that comes our way. We're a relatively small congregation, so we've decided to concentrate our benevolent help on food, clothing, utility help, and help sometimes with fuel for transportation. I also, as the benevolence minister, have a sort of a cadre of social services people who work in the community nonprofit sector, who I trust to provide me with good information should they encounter someone with a need that they can't otherwise fill. Those people will contact me and they'll ask if the church could maybe help their client with this or that thing, and we're usually able to oblige, and we do trust their judgment. One such client recently came to us by way of Susie, one of my social services contacts. Susie asked me if there was any way that we could provide a little food and some Tylenol and ibuprofen for a woman that she was helping. The woman was temporarily staying in a hotel. She had been in the hospital. She was in recovery and she needed to stay in town for a short time. She had no family. She didn't have any way or the ability to go anywhere to get what help she needed. I immediately told Susie that we could help. So Susie and I made plans to meet later that day. I went to the pharmacy and bought a bottle each of generic Tylenol and ibuprofen. That total bill was about $8 or so. We also provided a small box of food from our food stash that the woman could use in her room by using the microwave. Susie gathered the things together and she delivered them to the lady. Well, yesterday, I received an email from Susie about this woman that we had helped, and here's what it said, quote, "My client wanted me to thank you on her behalf for helping her with the meds and the food items. She felt really lost and like nobody cares. I spoke to her this morning, and she sounds way better than she did yesterday." Well, this is Jay again. You know, I'm sometimes asked how many of those we help in the benevolence ministry attend services with us, or maybe want a Bible study. Now, the thought of these folks is that the benevolence ministry needs to be an evangelistic ministry, and that if it is not getting evangelistic results, maybe we need to be doing something else with those resources. Well, very seldom does someone attend services because of our benevolence, and even less often does someone wish to study the Bible or discuss spiritual matters with us. Most of the time, we don't even receive a written thank you like I did with this woman given through Susie, her social worker. Now, one might wonder why that is, and I think I may have an answer for that. By far, most of those we serve are not thinking so much about what we might call spiritual things as they're thinking about ways to just survive the day. That survival could include finding a relatively safe place to sleep that evening, feeding their kids for the first time in 2 days, keeping the electric, gas, or water utility collections department at bay for another few days, or maybe finding a way to get to work that evening so they don't lose the job that they have. Most of the time, these people are struggling to survive, and I mean that in a truly literal sense. They are expending an incredible amount of time and energy just to be able to live, let alone have the time and energy to have a Bible study or clean up for church services. You know, I think that you would agree that if you had no electricity, an empty gas tank, and had just been served an eviction notice from the squalid apartment you were in, you wouldn't have a lot of desire to sit down and have a Bible study either. What I do find with many of those that we help is just what this woman articulated to Susie. These people feel like they are all alone, lost, and that no one really cares about them. Often they don't have family. They often feel like government agencies put more roadblocks in their way to obtaining resources than work to help them provide the help they need. They tell me that many agencies don't even want to listen to them. They act like they don't have the time for them, or they reduce their humanity to a number or an appointment. Being in need of services is all too often a dehumanizing, degrading, and an embarrassing experience. Here at Riverwalk, we work to make that experience as non-judgmental and as helpful as possible. With few exceptions, we do insist that we personally meet the one in need. We sit down with them, we visit with them, we hear their story, try to make them more at ease, and we give them, we think and we hope, the dignity and respect that they deserve. We may or may not be able to help them with their need, but hopefully we can leave them with a good feeling toward the church and let them know that we care and that we are hearing them. You know, I've long ago lost count of the times that I've heard someone thank me for just taking the time to listen, even though we couldn't help them with their need. In fact, that very thing happened again just yesterday. I've also long ago lost count of the number of times we've been able to help, at least by temporarily removing the threat of disconnection of utility services, and seeing that obvious look of relief wash over someone's face, usually a lady, and sometimes accompanied by a sobbing breakdown here in the office. The answer to why we do benevolence is what I've just said. We provide dignity, respect, a non-judgmental listening ear, and sometimes we can provide a sense of relief, knowing that at least for now, the collections and disconnections people have been kept away. That, in my view, makes what we do here truly a ministry to the hurting, the marginalized, the forgotten. It's a ministry that's well worth the time, effort, and resources. Don't you think? Blessings.